What's up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again. Guys, we have an exclusive truck diecast from the 2025 Advent Calendar line. This is the Rhodes Campers in RV Ford F-150. Now, they did make this diecast in 2023, but it was a Charlotte raced win. So this is the first time it's ever been produced as a clean variant. Let's go ahead and get the rotating base out of the studio and check it out. And here we go, folks. Diecast in hand here. And one of my favorite cars, or diecast for sure, from the 2025 Advent Calendar set. Huge fan of the truck diecast. We don't get a ton of them made. Hopefully in 2026. Pun on the sixth part. You know, if you watch Dashy, you know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Dashy XP and Dashy Games. Anyways, so basically, with the MOQ changes of 2026, we should see a lot more truck diecast, at least getting through, MOQ, escaping the pre-order thing, so to speak, and not being canceled. So hopefully we'll be able to see more truck diecast. But this one was a paint scheme Rhodes has had, I want to say, since 2023. And I mentioned they only made the Charlotte race to win. It's still very similar to the Charlotte one. Obviously, there's a few changes. I think the door number's larger on this one. But for the most part, it is pretty darn similar, which is fantastic. And I remember doing a diecast review on that 2023 Charlotte race to win. One of my favorite truck diecasts ever. So really cool stuff. Now, this one was on the box artwork, so we already knew this diecast was going to be a part of the set. Back in September or August when they revealed the artwork, whatever that was. So really cool stuff. And obviously, would it be in a NASCAR Authentics diecast? There's no front windscreen banner or anything, but you know what? It's still cool. Got Campers in RV right there on the hood of the truck. If you're curious, the orange is day glow. So the color of the orange on the roof of the truck, the cab, that is true day glow. There is a darker shade of orange, which I believe is decal. You can see the bright orange at the bottom of it. So it is sprayed with like a fluorescent orange. Very sharp looking stuff. Pretty close to the DuPont orangish color on the Terry Labonte Richmond race to it. I was filming a little diecast short with it, and the orange colors are pretty close. So if you want some clarity, that's kind of a good comparison. Go to the front of the diecast here. Now, one thing about the Ford F-150 front ends on these truck diecasts is obviously it's a generic mold, but for whatever reason sometimes they're a little bit off on the headlights. I honestly don't mind it because it's a very difficult diecast mold for them to wrap it around. It doesn't fit the headlight pattern very well, so I kind of cut them a break on that. But that's kind of the reason why you see a lot of the Ford headlights a little bit off. It's because it's just the way it's, the crown of the front end, it just doesn't line up well with the decal set, so to speak. Got number 99 right there on the left side. You have the Sunoco decal with ARP there. You have your black splitter. Looks very sharp with that bright orange. Go to the left side of the diecast. Now, you might be saying the door number is not centered on this diecast. Now, the way the door number rules work, I believe, in NASCAR, is there's a box. So you have here to like here. And you can put the number in any portion of that box. The door number on the trucks is kind of weird because like the cab of the truck, like the door is technically right here, which is not centered between the axles, right? So from the optics of a stock car fan, you look at, well, this is probably a bad comparison, but, the door is much more centered on a next-gen car. Yes, I know the numbers moved up. It's a beautiful diecast, by the way. But it's much more centered in terms of where the driver is sitting in the vehicle compared to the truck diecast where the cab's a little bit more forward. So the reason why I mention this is Ram in 2026 is actually running a little bit more of a forward number. Technically, it's already been a part of the truck series, and as you can see, this one is just a little bit further moved back. They might have widened the number box a little bit, but if you go through NASCAR history, there's always been that number box where you can move it up a little bit or move it back. You just can't go full next gen with it until obviously 2022. To add a little bit more context to that, 2017 Eric Jones Sport Clips, I think he ran it at Bristol in the Cup Series. That number was definitely not centered. 2024 Chandler Smith Mobile One Richmond, when he won in the Xfinity Series in the 81 car, that number was not centered as well. There's other, portions of that throughout NASCAR history, but yeah, just to give you some context. Enough of me going on a diatribe there. We got NASCAR Truck Series there. Cometic, Arrowhead Brass, Tilton, Holly EFI, Calico, Jessel, SKF. Got NASCAR Race Truck. A bunch of other decals I don't really recognize. Got the Goodyear decal. A little bit forward there, unfortunately. That's okay. Got Ben Rhodes on the driver name rail. You can see the little Ford F-150, I don't know what you would call this, the door shoulder. It wasn't trimmed all the way, so it's kind of, overlapping on the plastic. That's an easy fix. You have your bed cab corner day glow ports. Now, I don't think these are day glow. These are just bright yellow, but on the real trucks, they're traditionally day glow. Always found that interesting why they did that. It's kind of cool how they have their own, styling. I didn't like it for years, but I kind of like it now because it's cool when teams do their own styling. Like they'll have, one team will run only chrome rims, like MWR or RFK nowadays runs the little stripes at the bottom. I kind of like the team specific liveries. They're kind of cool, or features of a livery. Yeah, built for tough. You got the little Campers in RV mascot thingy. Campers in RV. You got Tenda. Shout out to the 2020 Johnny Sauter Tenda diecast that got made. That was one of my favorite trucks, and probably the smallest contingency panel you'll ever see in your life. I mean, look at all this real estate here. They they chose verbatim the smallest decals they could put on the car. That is interesting. I see Safety Clean, Wicks, mechanics wear, and some other ones. That's kind of interesting. Go to the back panel of this truck diecast. Get Campers in RV Ford. Got the number 99 on the right side. If you're curious how to get this diecast, it is through the Advent Calendar line only, a NASCAR Authentics exclusive. At the time of this video, I believe the Advent Calendar is still in stock over there at Circle B. So if you're curious, go ahead and tap in, pick up yours today. If you're a Truck Series collector, there's another great truck diecast in this set, being possibly the greatest Truck 164 exclusive you could ask for, the Corey Heim Safe Light Clean Paint Scheme. With it being the greatest Truck Series season ever statistically, that diecast is probably going to be very, very difficult to get many years from now. I'm anticipating. Who knows? They might overproduce it, but from my understanding, they don't overproduce the Advent Calendar set, from my understanding. I think it's more or less treated like a NASCAR Authentics wave. I don't have the exact numbers on it, but from what I've heard in years past, it's about 1,500 produced of a NASCAR Authentics wave. This was numbers around the early 2020s, so it could change. But I imagine the box set is somewhere around there, maybe a little bit less. My point is, from a collector standpoint and a fan of diecast standpoint, there's not a wrong reason to pick up the Advent Calendar line when there's so many great exclusive diecasts. Highly recommend it, man. If you're an Xfinity fan, there's a crap ton of great paint schemes there. You got, of course, Cup Series diecast. You have the Christopher Bell exclusive raced win from Phoenix, which is going to be a very popular car, I think. It has the red Goodyear tires. In fact, I have it right here. I'm just talking about it, but I have it right here. I'm just saying, if you have not picked up the Advent Calendar line, I could not recommend it more. In my opinion, 2025's Advent Calendar line is probably the best one. Like, in all reality, it's probably the best one out of the three. It's freaking awesome. Go to the top of the diecast here, we have the number 99. Notice the, the squunched up door, or not door font, but, the number font. On the doors, they kind of make the truck numbers a little bit wider, and on the cab, they always squunch them up. Always found that interesting. One thing that always bugged me about, the trucks on the older NASCAR games, I love the older NASCAR games, don't get me wrong, but they would have the door number, instead of choosing a different, skewed font for this number placement on the vehicle, they would just copy the verbatim same font on the door. They would put it on the roof, and they would just make it ridiculously small. So, 80% of the truck is, or the truck roof is just the color of the truck. There's just this tiny number in the roof, and it just looks really goofy. That's one little quirk I had about the older NASCAR games. Obviously, no rear window banner there. You have your clear bedpost, Ford Performance, Tenda, and FarmPaint.com. Over here on the deck lid of the car truck, you have, or not deck lid, the spoiler, close enough. You have Thor Sport right there. So, fantastic diecasts. One of my favorite ones of 2025 in terms of just exclusive vehicles, but they don't make nowhere near enough truck diecasts, in my opinion. So, anytime we get a exclusive one, you know, going crazy for it. And this one is a fantastic piece. You know, if you're a Truck Series collector, or you know, you're a diecast stop motion fan, this would be a perfect one you could honestly use for 2023, 2024, 2025. I think this one's actually more accurate to the 2023 one than the 2024, because this logo right here, the Tenda logo, I think was changed in 2024. I could be tripping on that, but it's one of those paint schemes that you could probably use for a couple of different years in your truck stop motion if you had one, which I think those things are really cool. So that's all for now, fellas. Thank you all for watching the video. Make sure to tap it over there at Circle B. Use promo code Diecastbuffet if you want to save on shipping. And hope you're having a blessed one, man. Thank you all for watching. DB signing off.